Charles, this is the last kind of little guy that we had shared in this little initial little ranking. That's CJ Stroud. Now, nothing tempered you off of him last year. Me either. I had to throw him in. It's one of those where every time I watch him, I'm like, oh yeah, you're sick. Like you're really cool.
Yeah.
And I think maybe just it's kind of nice right now watching a little bit more NFL film again and seeing the refs in the proper places and offensive line that knows how to protect and a quarterback that can complete an out route and stuff like that. So, but watching Stroud again, I'm like, oh yeah, you're good. Like you're good. So
really good.
Optimism for this year, you think just cleaning up the O-line, that's why you want him in your top 10, because that's what led to me putting him in the top 10 is I still think he's a hell of a player that the ecosystem, as we like to say, I think got a little bit of a lift this offseason.
Yeah, I honestly I feel the same way I do about him after his rookie year.
Yeah.
I think he's just really still a fantastic quarterback. Like you said, the ecosystem deteriorated around him, but he still did just enough where they were able to compete for the playoffs despite having those problems. Like the run game was really, really bad for most of the season. We know the offensive line struggles. The wide receiver room got decimated by injuries, but there's CJ just kind of fighting for his life out there, doing just enough every week where they have a chance to stay in these games. Like, and that was even kind of true. I thought in that playoff game against Kansas City, where he did ultimately make some pretty bad plays at the end of the game to close it out with some big sacks, but still. He did enough just to keep like a pretty bad group alive. So now, we talked about the offensive line a few times. We'll see how that turns out. But the receiver room additions, I think, are real, and you should have Nico Collins back healthy for a full year, hopefully this season. So there's definitely room for improvement, and I think as long as he's there, like you'll have a chance to have competent offense each week, even as things are falling apart a little bit.
Yeah, you know what really got me excited was last year in the playoffs, he just started scrambling and he starts creating. And CJ is never going to be a scrambling first quarterback. He wants to sit in the pocket and dice you up, which is why I love him and why I think he's going to be so cool throughout his career. I mean, he's not even 24. He turns 24 in 100 days, 130 days by the time the season, I think, starts. But it's just that, man, you don't see guys pristinely operating out of this. A guy that should have been a redshirt senior last year, and we're looking at some other guys and how they operate that are coming out older. And I think he's such an advanced player. I thought he pressed so much in the second half of the year, but that makes sense because of just what was happening. Every receiver's falling apart. The offensive line is switching. Laramie Tunsil doesn't know how to pick up a blitz. So I kind of was getting like why he was like, I got to do this. Like, this is how I have to play. So it was cool seeing him become a little more creator at the end of last year, almost like, bringing back that Ohio State Georgia game where he kind of everyone's all of a sudden was like, oh, you can do this. And it's like, yeah, good. He can throw that into his element, throw how he can win and play the quarterback position. I have to include in my top 10. I just like him so much. Matt, is he in your list or did he not make it?
Yeah. He was one of my tougher cuts. He was one of my tougher cuts. Again, like my honorable mention group would probably be Dak Prescott, CJ Stroud, Matthew Stafford, and Baker Mayfield in some order, like kind of making up the rest of the top 14, which again, I think is all in the same tier as all those players I talked about. So like, I'm not going to really fight you hard if you want to have this guy here or there. With Stroud, he was the thing I'm excited about in 2025 is that I kind of had this thought about him even early on in his second season. Like, does this guy really need to be like a Shanahan quarterback, and at times I've said like Bobby Slowick basically just ran like the greatest hits of the Shanahan playbook as the Houston Texans offensive coordinator, which worked in year one. It did not work in year two for a variety of reasons, but I'm actually excited to kind of see him out of that incubator. And like, we'll see what Nick Caley brings to the equation here, but yeah, maybe more true drop back stuff, similar to what the Niners just went through with Purdy. I actually I just haven't seen it yet, but I would rather see Stroud honestly in a situation like that, even then a guy in Purdy who I ranked as the 8th quarterback here. So I am really excited about him this year. Maybe just a little bit of cowardice not having the proof of concept for me to leave him off the top 10.
I get it. He almost missed it. I was like, I gotta include him in it. But that's a great point. I'd like to see him almost in a Burrow-ish type offense where it's just let him be the point guard back there, and just because he's so smart and just really is. He's so advanced as a processor. So and he's so accurate and a quick throwing motion, everything. So I would like to see more on his plate. And I like to see. I think he can handle protections. I interviewed him, and I'm like, he knew the stuff after his rookie year. That I was like, okay, you actually more than most Shanahan quarterbacks know this. And so I want to see more on his plate and maybe see that next launch